Welcome to Family Gamer TV. As you can see, we've got all our Nintendo handhelds here. I've been slightly inspired by the arrival of the new 3DS to go revisit. So I wonder which of these you have. So let's just set aside some of these historic models, because what we want to really do today, we might be bringing those back in a minute, is to look at the 3DS options. So setting aside for a minute our existing models and having a look at what we have that's new. Now we're going to kick things off with a battery test. Now this is following up one we did previously where we didn't have the XL included and we had 3D switched on. And in this test, as you can see, we've got both the XL and the standard one, and we've got 3D switched off. This of course makes it a more level playing field because the 2DS doesn't have a 3D option, and it's interesting to see how much effect 3D has on battery life. So as we power through into the first few hours, you can see them all doing strong. My son gets in, always interested in what we're doing, is keen and excited about these two new 3DSs, and carrying on through the morning. They're all doing fine. Now brightness is on high. We've got the power saving setting switched on the new 3DS and new 3DS XL. We've got Wi-Fi switched on as our cat gets involved as well, prowling around. Happily she didn't knock any of the units, so we can carry on with the test. So the first console to die is the 3DS, that lasting 4 hours and 5 minutes, still better with that 3D switched off. Then soon after that is the 2DS that lasted 4 hours 36 minutes. You'll see that's going to go first, and then quickly followed by the 3DS XL at 5 hours and 1 minute. But the two winners this time were the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL at 5:23 and 5:45. So 3D does make a big difference to how long these units will last. And one of the reasons is that the 3DS and 3DS XL have a new super stable 3D that uses this little lens here at the top. The camera, obviously we're familiar with, tracks your face and makes sure that you are slotted in the right position for that 3D experience. It makes a massive difference. I really wasn't expecting there to be a big difference, but it does. But to do that, it uses this little infrared transmitter, and that I think does have an impact on the battery life, and that's what we're seeing here. But switch that off and you get a really nice super long battery. Equally, there's an extra setting here for auto brightness. So the new 3DS and 3DS XL both have this option. So if you've got it switched on, it means that the brightness of the screens will adjust depending on how bright your environment. So if we cover up the lens here, you should see the screen there dim a bit, because in a darker space you don't need so much brightness, you can save your battery. If we take it off, you should be able to see the screen going brighter. And if we come in with a really bright light from my my iPhone, again you should see the screens going as bright as they can to try and compensate. And I think that goes some way to be able to play these 3DSs in bright daylight. Before moving on from our battery comparison, I wanted to look at how quickly these units would charge up, because that's a consideration, isn't it? If it's low on charge, how long do you have to plug it in before it gets to full charge? So after the battery test, we set up another test, a charge up test. As you can see, we've got the power going to each of them and they're all plugged in. And here we found that they were largely the same, but there was some difference. So you can see in our test that the 2DS charged up first at 2:55, then the new 3DS 3 hours, just 5 minutes longer for the XL at 3 hours and 7. The new 3DS XL took another 5 minutes again at 3:14, and the original 3DS took the longest at 3:16. So not a massive difference, but it's interesting to see that 2DS did charge up slightly quicker, and also get an idea of how long you need to charge these units. So around 3 hours charging time, and you're getting a payback of 4 to 5, maybe even 6 hours playtime. So, but now we have these units to compare, we can get a real sort of close look at which one we think is better, and potentially which one of the two you would choose if you've got that option in your territory. Now, first of all, let's have a look at the XL. Now, you'll be familiar with how this looks. There's been tons of footage online of these units, so I don't need to go into a huge amount of detail. What I did want to do was just compare the 3DS XL to the new 3DS XL, and you can see this is a real continuity of design. It is essentially the same console, very, very slightly bigger, but just adjusted a bit to accommodate some of the new features. Now, if we bring in our special edition 3DS XL, you can get a further comparison. Now, this is the one which we've installed, the Mugen extra power pack here, which gives us something like 10 hours. It triples the size of the battery, and as you can see, adds a bit of heft to it. But we really like that. But again, that gives it extra weight. But once you've got an XL, it feels like that's not the end of the world. But there you can see a nice comparison 3 ways with the Mugen battery pack, the original 3DS, new 3DS XL, and the new 3DS XL. Now, this is one of the reasons why in our family we prefer the new 3DS, because it feels much more like a fresh experience. So take the new 3DS and the original 3DS and compare them, and they're completely different. There's been a complete shift in design, much like, as we said in our previous video, the difference from the original DS to the DS Lite. That complete iteration. It feels like they've got some external designer in, and there's a real attention to detail, commitment to symmetry, and the same on the new 3DS. So you can see if we open them as well, the screens are a bit bigger. Now, something I do like is the fact that the new 3DS, new 3DS XL still support DS games. So if we have a look at the 2 screens, you can see that the new 3DS has larger screens top and bottom. Unlike the comparison between the 3DS XL and the new 3DS XL, which are essentially got exactly the same sizes, you do get a slight bump in screen size with the new 3DS from the original. But apart from that, obviously it plays the same games. The experience is kind of the same. There's a slight increase in power, so some games will load quicker on the new 3DS. So another aspect of these new 3DS and 3DS XL is the fact that the sound has had a little bump in quality. Both to my ear, the volume and also the clarity of the sound on these new units is a slightly better than it was on the 2DS or the 3DS XL, and is closer to that high watermark to my ear of the original 3DS. So if we just go through them, you get a chance to hear each one. So the new 3DS XL, the new 3DS, and then the mono 2DS, the 3DS XL, and the original 3DS. So there you go. I think those new 3DS and new 3DS XL returns the volume and the clarity of sound to what it was on the original 3DS. Of course, in any of these units, you can just plug in some headphones and really that resolves any volume or quality issues in the sound. One thing I wasn't quite as keen on was the stylus. It feels rather plasticky, kind of a step backwards from what I really like, that nice metal telescopic stylus from that original 3DS. Of course, you've got the faceplates, which you can pop off, and you can use a stylus to pick this off if you need to, and interchange them, which again is a nice feature. I know that my kids will really enjoy that. They have a habit of covering their 3DSs in stickers, and now they kind of don't have to do that because they can choose the look and feel of the external of their new 3DS to match. Obviously, that is something which you don't get if you're in the States and you're just on the new 3DS XL model. And it'll be interesting, one of our commenters, Carrie, on the channel, suggested that this might open up the way for some 3D printed cases. Of course, once these dimensions are out in the wild, anyone could print and then use a cover. Now that means not only can you print your own sort of look, you can also print your own texture and potentially have extra bits sticking out of it, maybe things to hold peripherals. You could have a faceplate here which you could then pop in your game cards, or perhaps even have an extra battery pack. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how those interchangeable faceplates go, and it's a really nice feature. I think for families, certainly that would be one of the things that I would recommend the 3DS, the new 3DS over the 3DS XL if you've got that option in your territory. Now finally, I think you shouldn't dismiss the old 2DS. If you've got small children, of course it has the advantage that there's no hinges, so if you do drop it, or if you do mistreat it a little bit, as kids tend to do, that you don't have to worry about that. Also, there's some really good bargains in the UK, at least. I've seen the 2DS going on sale along with Mario Kart for about 80 quid. Equally, these old original 3DS and 3DS XL units are also being cleared out of stock, it seems, so again you can pick up yourself a bargain by going down these routes, and they're two still really good, really attractive consoles that will give you access to that full library of DS and 3DS games, so don't rule those out, particularly if you're on a budget. But of course the real new choice is between the new 3DS XL and the new 3DS. In my family, this is the one that's winning the day. The compact nature, the fact that it has this sort of fresh redesigned feel, some real attention to detail, that nice little divot there taken out so you can hold your thumb. The hinge feels super tight, different mechanism it feels like to what's in the 3DS XL. There's a real snap, whereas this sort of super high quality feel in the new 3DS, no real snap, it just sort of goes into place. Like that sort of feel when you shut a car door and it makes that lovely car door noise. Similarly, opening this and closing this just feels of quality. So there you go, that's all we've got time for. If this is your first Family Gamer TV video, do subscribe to the channel. We have tons of battery tests, close looks, early reviews of games. We cover not only Skylanders and Disney Infinity, but Angry Birds, but also games that maybe your family hasn't heard of. It's games to show your parents, or if you are some parents, some games to get up to speed on and then surprise your kids by introducing them into the home. If you subscribe to the channel, that means we can let you know when we have more videos available and you won't miss any of them. But for now, that's Family Gamer TV.